Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Logan's Voice. I'm Doug Ballinger, Logan's dad, and I want to thank you for joining me today, especially for this episode, because it's one that hits hard, hits early, and hits often. We're talking about peer pressure, what it really looks like in high school, why it's so powerful, and how you can protect yourself or someone you love before the moment of decision hits. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Peer pressure? That's just people trying to force you to do something stupid. But no, it's usually a whole lot quieter than that. It looks like a room full of people vaping, and you're the only one not doing it. It looks like a snap from someone you trust offering a pill that looks like candy. It looks like someone saying, "Come on, just try it. It's not a big deal." And suddenly you're asking yourself, if I don't, will they stop inviting me? Will I be the weird one? Will I be alone? That's peer pressure. It's not about being bullied, it's about being afraid of being left out. And in today's world, the risks tied to those moments are more dangerous than ever because the drug supply is poisoned. Because one pill, just one, can kill. Because fentanyl doesn't care if you're just experimenting. It doesn't care if you're just trying to fit in. Let me tell you something. That took me a long time to understand. Peer pressure doesn't just push kids into bad decisions, it pushes them into silence. It convinces them not to ask questions, not to speak up, and not to call for help. It keeps them trapped in the fear of judgment and isolation. That silence, that fear, it's deadly. That's why this episode matters. Whether you're a high school student right now trying to figure out where you belong, or you're a parent, teacher, or coach who wants to know what the kids in your life are really facing, this episode is your invitation to listen, reflect, and most importantly, prepare. Prepare for the moments that come without warning. Prepare for the quiet voice inside you that knows when something feels wrong. Prepare for the power you already have to say, I don't need this to be enough. I already am enough. Because you are. And today, we're going to talk about how to protect that truth. Let's get into it. Let's start by breaking down the myth of what peer pressure is and what it isn't. When most people hear the words peer pressure, they imagine a group of older kids cornering someone in the hallway saying something like, "Take the pill or you're a loser." But the truth is, it's rarely that obvious. Today's peer pressure is subtle, it's social, it's digital, and it's constant. It looks more like this. Everyone vaping at the party, and someone casually hands you one without even asking. You don't want to look like the only one not doing it. Or a friend offers you a pill and says, "It's just a little something to help you chill." Everybody does it. Or you're in the back seat of a car, music blaring, and someone pulls out a bottle or a bag and you freeze, not knowing what to do. You open Snapchat or TikTok and you see kids your age getting high, laughing, partying like it's no big deal. And you wonder if you're the only one not doing it. That's pressure. It doesn't always come in words. Sometimes it's in a look, a silence, a shrug, a moment where you feel like you have to choose between being accepted or being safe. And with social media, it never stops. You can say no on a Friday night and still wake up Saturday morning to videos of the people you said no to, making it look like you missed out on something amazing. That constant comparison can make anyone feel the odd one out. And here's the kicker. Even good kids, even straight A students, athletes, kids with strong families are not immune. Because at the end of the day, every teenager wants the same three things: to belong, to be liked, and to not be alone. And when those needs get tied to risky behavior, especially in environments where everyone's doing it, that's when the real danger starts. Let me tell you something that might surprise you. When Logan first started experimenting, he wasn't trying to be rebellious. He was not trying to hurt himself or anyone else. He was just trying to fit in, to cope, to feel something other than pressure or pain or isolation. He had a big heart, a bright light, but he also had moments of insecurity, moments where the wrong voice seemed louder than the right one. And that's all it takes sometimes, one moment. So I want you to hear this clearly. Peer pressure isn't always about someone else pushing you. Sometimes it's the pressure you put on yourself to be liked, to be cool, and to not feel different than everyone else. And that's why understanding it, really seeing it, is so important. Because once you know what it looks like, you can start making choices that come from your values, not from someone else's expectations. You can choose what kind of life you want instead of living in fear of what people think. And that kind of strength, it starts with awareness. Let's explore why it's so hard for high schoolers to say no. So now that we've looked at what peer pressure actually looks like, let's get into why it's so hard to resist. Because from the outside looking in, it's easy for adults to say, hey, why didn't they just say no? But inside the mind of a teenager, that moment is a lot more complicated. Let's break it down. First, there's the brain science. Teens are still developing the part of their brain called the prefrontal cortex. That's the part responsible for things like long-term decision making, impulse control, weighing consequences. But the part of the brain that lights up when you get attention or approval, that's already in full swing. So when a teen is faced with a choice to go along with the crowd or risk being left out, the brain says, social reward now is more important than safety later. It's not because they're reckless, it's because they're wired for belonging. And then there's the fear of standing out. Here's something a lot of teens have told me. Saying no isn't just about the substance, it's about what happens after. If I say no, I might lose my friend group. I might be the only one not invited next time. And that's huge because to a high schooler, fitting in feels like survival. When you're already dealing with all the pressure of grades, parents, sports, your future, your body, your identity, the last thing you want to be labeled is weird or soft or no fun. So saying no isn't just one decision, it can feel like a full-on social risk. And then there's the pressure of pain. Some teens don't give in to peer pressure because they want to fit in. They give in because they're hurting. They're anxious. They're depressed. They feel invisible. And the idea of being numb for a while or just being accepted, even for the wrong reasons, can seem worth it. Logan didn't use because he was weak. He used because he was hurting. Because he didn't want to feel what he was feeling. Because the lie that this will make you feel better is seductive when you're already suffering. And that's why just say no isn't enough. We have to give young people something better to say yes to. So what does that look like? It starts with conversations, not lectures. Safety, not shame. Understanding, not assumptions. Because when a teen feels safe enough to say, I don't want to do this, but I don't know what to say, how to say no. That's the opening. That's when we can step in with love, not punishment. If you're a teen listening, you're not weak for struggling to resist pressure. You're human. And if you're an adult listening, your kid isn't broken because they gave in. They're still learning. They still need you. Let's stop pretending that saying no is easy and start preparing our kids for the fact that it's brave and sometimes really, really hard. Let's get practical. We've talked about what peer pressure looks like and why it's so hard to resist. Now, let's talk about how to stand strong, even when it feels like everyone around you is saying yes. Because here's the truth. Saying no doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're protecting your future. It means you're choosing to live. It means you're braver than most people realize. But even knowing that, it can still be hard to find the right words in the moment. So let's put some tools in your pocket. So when pressure shows up, you'll be ready. Practice your no. This might sound silly, but hear me out. You have to rehearse your no before you need it. Because in the heat of the moment, your brain can freeze up. But if you've already practiced a few phrases, you're more likely to stay grounded. And so here's some you can use. Nah, I'm good. That's simple, confident, and unapologetic. Or that's not my thing. You're not judging them, you're just claiming your own space. I've got stuff tomorrow. I'm not messing with anything tonight. And that gives a reason without inviting debate. I told my parents I'd be clean if they let me out. I'm not about to blow it. That's personal, but firm. You don't owe anyone a long explanation. No is a complete sentence. And you can use a delay tactic. Sometimes you just need time to think or to exit gracefully. Try not right now, or maybe later, or I'm just watching tonight. This can buy you time to walk away, text someone, or find another group. Delaying gives your brain space to catch up and decide what you really want, not what someone else is pushing. And then create a code word with a trusted adult. This is one of the most powerful tools you can have in your toolbox. Pick a random phrase like purple socks or forgot my charger. If you're ever in a situation where you feel unsafe or pressured, just text that phrase to your parent, sibling, or trusted adult. They'll know to come get you, no questions asked. And parents, this is huge. If your kid uses the code word, do not shame them. Do not lecture in that moment. Just say, I'm proud of you for calling me. We'll talk later. That's how you build trust. That's how you keep the door open. And find your safe people. Not everyone's going to pressure you. Some friends will respect your boundaries. Some adults will listen without judgment. Find those people. Stick close to them. Let them know you want to stay safe and that you want to help them do the same. If you don't have a safe person yet, keep looking. There's always someone, a teacher, a coach, a youth pastor, a neighbor, a hotline. You are never as alone as it feels in the moment. And know your values ahead of time. Ask yourself, what kind of life do I want? What do I want people to remember for me? What goals do I care about? Because when you know what matters to you, it gets easier to say, this isn't worth risking everything for. And if someone laughs or mocks you for that, that's not your friend. That's your wake-up call. And then real talk. Let me tell you something from the heart. There are people listening to this right now who wish they could go back and redo that one moment, that one party, that one pill, that one night. Some of them can't. Some of them didn't make it. And some, like Logan, were just trying to fit in, to feel okay, and to stop hurting. If you feel that pressure today, know this. You don't need to risk your life to belong. You don't need to destroy your future to keep a friend. The people who pressure you to gamble with your safety, those are not your people. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be prepared. Because when pressure shows up, and it will, you deserve to be ready. And you deserve to walk away with your head held high, knowing you stayed true to yourself. Let's talk about those times when you already said yes. We're going to talk about something that doesn't get said enough. Sometimes you already said yes, you already took the pill, you already vaped at the party, you already have been in the car where things got out of hand. And now you're sitting with guilt or shame or fear, wondering what happens next. If that's you, take a deep breath and listen to me. You are not broken, you are not ruined, and you are not too far gone. Saying yes doesn't mean you're a failure, it means you're human. It means you were in a moment where the pressure, the fear, the need to belong won out. We've all had these moments. Some of us just survived them. Some of us didn't. What you do next matters more than what you did. You don't have to stay stuck in that yes. You don't have to let one decision define your whole identity. You don't have to keep going just because you already started. You can stop. You can get help. You can say, that's not who I want to be anymore. That one sentence, it's powerful. It's a lifeline, and it's never too late to reach for it. Let go of the shame. Shame keeps you silent, and silence is dangerous. If you've done something you regret, talk to someone, a parent, a counselor, a friend who gets it. Not someone who will punish you or make you feel worse, but someone who will help you get back on solid ground. It's okay to say, I messed up, I feel scared, or I don't want to keep going down this road. And if someone trusts you enough to say those words, show up for them. Don't judge, don't shame, just listen and love them. And then find the next right step. Maybe that's having a conversation with your parents. Maybe it's deleting a number or blocking someone who keeps pulling you into the danger. Maybe it's going to your school counselor and saying, I need help. Whatever your next step is, take it. Don't wait. Don't overthink it. You are worth saving right now. And adults, hear this. If a young person comes to you and says, I've already said yes, that is not the time for lectures or punishment. It's a time for grace, for support, for asking, what do you need from me so this doesn't happen again? Because the goal isn't to be right. The goal is to keep them alive, to keep the door open, to keep the trust intact. If you've already said yes, that doesn't mean you have to keep saying yes. You are still worthy, you are still loved, and you are still allowed to choose a different future. One decision doesn't define your destiny. What you choose next does. If you're still with me, whether you're a student, a parent, or just someone trying to understand this better, thank you so much for listening to this episode. We've covered a lot. We've pulled back the curtain on what peer pressure really looks like, why it works the way it does, and what tools you can use to stand your ground, even when it feels like the whole world is pushing you to fall in line. But before we end this episode, I want to speak directly to you, heart to heart. This is to the high school student who's feeling the pressure. You're not weak for wanting to be liked. You're not dramatic for wanting to feel like you belong. And you're definitely not alone for being scared to say no. But I need you to hear this. You are enough, even if you never take the hit, the sip, or the pill. You are valuable, even if you walk away. And you're stronger than you think, even if your voice shakes when you say no. The pressure will come, the moments will happen, but so will the choice. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be you. The kind of you that gets to live, to grow, to dream. The kind of you that Logan didn't get the chance to become. Let that sink in. To parents, teachers, mentors, and trusted adults, listen more than you lecture. Ask more than you assume. And love more than you correct. Peer pressure isn't just something our kids should know how to handle. It's something they need help navigating. They need practice. They need patience. And they need to know that coming to you, even after they've made a mistake, won't cost them your love. Let your kids know there's nothing you could do that would make me stop loving you. Nothing so big that we can't face it together. When a child knows they have a safe place to land, they're much more likely to take the leap toward truth and toward life. And finally, to those of us who have lost someone, Logan isn't just a memory. He's my mission. His story is a light in dark places where silence used to live. Every time I talk about this, every time I help someone make a different choice, every time I say that one pill is all it takes, we're saving lives. And I believe with everything in me, Logan sees that. He knows I'm still fighting for the ones he couldn't reach. So let's keep going. If this episode resonated with you, share it with a teen you care about. Sit down and have a real conversation. Post it, tag it, talk about it. Follow me on YouTube and Amazon Music because this pressure is real, but so is the power of your voice. I'm Doug Ballinger, and you've been listening to Logan's Voice. For Logan, for every kid facing choices that they don't understand yet, for the ones who made it and the ones who didn't. Keep speaking, keep listening, and keep loving loudly. Until next time, stay present, and stay real. I am Logan's voice. I am Logan's dad, and I will not be silent.